What's going on, guys? It's me, Jammin' John. Originally, I was going to start off the results for Hell in a Cell like I usually do with my intro along with the background music, but I'm not going to be doing that for this pay-per-view. This pay-per-view was so horrible and so controversial that it doesn't deserve any of the bells and whistles. I'm just going to go straight into the card. I'm going to give you the rating along with the rating of Hell in a Cell 1 year ago, because this is a very, very bad show and a very controversial one, to say the least. So let's go ahead and get into it. I think the only pre-show match that we had at Hell in a Cell was Natalya versus Lacey Evans. Lacey gained the advantage by working over Natalya's knee. Lacey missed a moonsault and Natalya got the sharpshooter on for an immediate tap out. And according to what I'm reading here, because I don't watch pre-show matches, Natalya gave Lacey a women's right after the match for good measure. It's pretty interesting, I guess. Oh, and by the way, this same match is going to be happening tomorrow on Monday Night Raw, so yeah. Getting into the main card of the show, we started off with the Raw Women's Champion, the Man Becky Lynch, taking on the Boss Sasha Banks inside of a Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's Championship. Sasha took a cheap shot at Becky right before the match started, and the two started fighting outside the ring as the cage was lowering. The two eventually got back into the ring and the match started. The two exchanged chair shots and a table/ladder were also introduced into the match. The cage was also used with Becky suplexing Sasha into it at one point. Sasha got a near fall with the Meteora through a table. Sasha then used a kendo stick to apply the bank statement, but Becky escaped. Becky hit a top rope exploder onto a set of chairs and then tapped out Sasha with the disarm her. I seen the end of this match and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing women's championship match inside of a Hell in a Cell. A lot of other wrestling fans thought the same thing. They said that it was the best match of the entire night. So big props to Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks for that. Not really a big fan of the finish, but it was the best match of the night. So big props to those two for going out there and doing that match. The next match was another great match, in my opinion. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns taking on Eric Rowan and Luke Harper in a Tornado Tag Team match. Reigns and Bryan had a hot start, but then Harper and Rowan started working together to gain the advantage. Harper and Rowan used steel steps to take out Reigns. Harper and Rowan attempted to put Bryan through the announce table, but Bryan countered with a Hurricanrana, and then Reigns speared Rowan through another announce table. Reigns hit a Superman punch to Harper, followed by a running knee from Bryan, and then Reigns hit a spear for the victory. After the match, Bryan went for a handshake but then pulled away. Bryan then signaled for a hug, then Reigns hesitated, but then they hugged it out. So it's really cool to see that. I really enjoyed seeing that, and like I said, this was another good match. Our next match was Randy Orton versus Ali. During the kickoff, Ali cut a promo about building up momentum during the 2019 WWE Draft. Orton confronted Ali and Ali challenged him to a match. Orton dominated the early part of the match, but Ali eventually made a comeback. Ali missed the 450 and Orton regained control. Ali had a unique counter to the RKO, which was really cool to see, but Orton got another opportunity and nailed one to pick up the victory. Orton gave Ali a sign of respect after the match. After that, we seen the Women's Tag Team Champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross taking on the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Kairi took a few cheap shots during the match, and her and Asuka were working as heels. After a comeback by Alexa and Nikki, Asuka spit green mist in Nikki's face, shades of Tajiri, and then hit the Asuka lock to crown the new Tag Team Champions. So there you have it, the Kabuki Warriors are the brand new Women's Tag Team Champions. Our next match was a 6-man tag team match where the Viking Raiders, Ivar and Eric, and Braun Strowman took on the OC, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. Strowman got knocked into the ring post and Styles got the calf crusher on. The Raiders made the save, but then the OC took out everyone. The OC attacked Strowman until the referee called for the bell. After the match, the fight continued. Strowman laid out Styles with a punch to the face. Styles was stumbling around after the match. We also had a 24/7 championship title change, where backstage the Street Profits were cutting a promo when R-Truth suddenly ran into them. Carmella was rolled up by Tamina, and Tamina was crowned the new 24/7 champion. Tamina was then confronted by Tyler Breeze, and she punched him before running off. Our next match was Chad Gable versus King Corbin. Corbin cut a promo before the match and said he was disappointed that he had to face Gable again. Corbin said he put The Rock in his place on SmackDown. Corbin referred to Gable as Shorty Gable. Corbin was dominant, but Gable kept fighting back and managed to get the ankle lock. However, Corbin was able to get to the outside of the ring. Corbin grabbed his scepter, but the referee took it from him. Gable rolled up Corbin to pick up the victory. Our next match was for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley taking on Charlotte Flair. Before the match, Tamina was shown running throughout the crowd. Funaki separated Tamina from R-Truth, but Carmella then hit Tamina with a super kick. Tamina ended up getting pinned by R-Truth, who was announced as a 20-time champion. So big congratulations to R-Truth on that. Charlotte worked over Bayley's leg during this match. Bayley then went for a pin and attempted to use the ropes, but the referee saw it. Charlotte got on the figure 8 and picked up the victory to become a 10-time champion. Bayley had an emotional breakdown after the match. So there you have it. Charlotte Flair is once again SmackDown Women's Champion. And then in our main event of WWE Hell in a Cell, you had the Universal Champion, the Architect Seth Rollins, taking on the Fiend Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship. Before the match, Chad Gable was interviewed about his victory, but Gable got attacked by Baron Corbin. Seth Rollins and the Fiend wrestled with the red lighting effect, similar to Kane's debut matches that he had. Wyatt dominated the match until Rollins started using the steel steps while Wyatt was looking for a weapon. Wyatt hit Sister Abigail into the cage to regain the advantage. Rollins hit a curb stomp, which Bray Wyatt popped up from. Wyatt hit Sister Abigail, but Rollins kicked out. Wyatt then introduced a giant mallet into the match, the one from Firefly Funhouse. Rollins came back and hit 2 stomps. The crowd started booing, and Rollins hit the pedigree, followed by another stomp. Wyatt kicked out at 1. Rollins hit several more stomps to Wyatt. Rollins got a chair and hit Wyatt in the head, but Wyatt once again kicked out at 1. Rollins hit a chair shot with a ladder, but Wyatt kicked out at 2. Rollins started hitting Wyatt repeatedly with a toolbox while ladders were on Wyatt's face. Rollins then pulled a sledgehammer from under the ring. Completely out of nowhere, the referee tried to actually stop Rollins from using the sledgehammer. Rollins used it anyway, and yes, no joke, the referee disqualified Rollins. In a Hell in a Cell match, we had a disqualification. Wyatt put the mandible claw on Rollins after the match. Rollins started bleeding from the mouth as the pay-per-view went off the air. Shortly after the disqualification happened in the ring, every single person in the crowd started booing. There was a loud chant of restart match, and there was also chants of AEW from the crowd and a chant of refund from the crowd. So the crowd really did not like the ending to this match, and honestly, I can't blame him. Why in the hell would you go and do a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match? That's a first. Now, I never thought I'd ever hear that, but that's a first. The only news note that I have to pass along is that the Fox Sports Twitter account deleted a tweet that stated that the Bray Wyatt-Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match ended in a DQ. The WWE is stating that Wyatt versus Rollins ended due to a no contest. So, it's whatever it is, I guess. Now, let's go back in time to last year on September the 16th when Hell in a Cell took place over in San Antonio, Texas. Of course, if you remember in the main event of that, it was Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman with Mick Foley as the referee, and it was for the Universal Championship as well, and that one also ended in a no contest. But, according to CageMatch.net, the premier online wrestling database, with 109 valid votes from you, the fans, you guys gave it a 7.2 out of 10 last year. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, John, what was the rating for this year? If it was a 7.2 last year, what did Hell in a Cell get this year? Well, as of this reporting, with 24 valid votes, Hell in a Cell for 2019 currently has a 2.44 out of 10. 3 people rated it an 8 out of 10. 5 people rated it a 3 out of 10. 3 people rated it a 2 out of 10. 11 people rated it 1 out of 10. And 1 person rated it 0. So as you can see, a lot of negative backlash due to this pay-per-view. Of course, there is only one match that has a really great rating. That is the Raw Women's Championship match that was in the Hell in a Cell between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. That currently has a 7.71 out of 10. So, a lot of backlash for this pay-per-view, and it's untelling what we're going to get into on Monday Night Raw tomorrow, but we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, if you want my full opinion on Hell in a Cell, I will have that right now for my Patreon subscribers. So if you're subscribed to my Patreon, you'll be able to hear my full opinion on that. If you're not a subscriber, go subscribe to me at patreon.com/JamminJohn. That is patreon.com/JamminJohn. Check back here tomorrow for another great Jammin' John's Wrestling News Flash briefing. Until then, this is Jammin' John saying thanks, goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow.